name is Al, and I go by she, they, he, as I am gender fluid.
Well, I prefer to go by Evelyn, my name, but a lot of people call me Evie, which is fine as well. And then my pronouns are she, her, she, they.
I thought that was a given, yeah. Because it's just about basic respect about people and how they feel about themselves.
I definitely, because person has, like, say for example, someone has the pronouns they, them, they have those because that's what they feel comfortable with, and it's always important to make sure people feel comfortable with what you're calling them.
See, there's a line with that. There are good representations and bad representations. It's like some of them go the stereotypical route, which, you know, harms the transgender name and makes them seem like a certain thing. But in actuality, they're just people who just want to be who they are. So personally, I think it's not the greatest currently, but we are getting there.
It depends on like what is represented in the media, but usually it's either that they're represented in a way that it needs to be more recognised, it needs to be more accepted, or it's either looking at, and then the other view of it is that it's reflected as in negative views and how they get hate crime, which is just disgusting. So
Gotta make me think of a name. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, okay? But there is this one person who was on RuPaul's Drag Race, who is a drag queen, but was also trans at the same time. And I thought that was really empowering because with drag queens and drag kings, they're more like, oh, biological females are drag kings, biological males are drag queens. But in this case, it was someone who was transitioning from a girl to a boy, is dressing up as a girl again, and people had controversy with that, when actuality it's just them expressing their art but in a physical form.
probably just, well, for a lot of movies I've seen recently, like they're starting to open it up more and like show it how it's, if that makes sense, like showing it how just representing people as a whole better and representing their pronouns, their sexuality, all of that. So I would say it's becoming more it's become more noticeable, I would say, in films and TVs and things like that.
Form. I don't really watch many things that have trans people in it now that I think about it. I'm gonna have to think to my anime. Is there any trans in there? I actually don't know, I'm trying to think.
You said that you haven't watched many things with transgender people.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of people.
Is that because there's a lack of representation, or it's just not a thing in the kind of stuff you watch?
I personally think there's a lack of trans representation in media and what I watch. So it's hard to find things that have good and bad representation. That's why if I'm watching a show that is based on LGBT, like RuPaul's Drag Race, then that's just easy to identify, but in modern media it's really hard to find anything, especially what I watch.
Is when people say like they're non-binary or demigender or something like that. It's when people say something like that and then they take it as like they're trying to make it as like, rather than they're trying to make it as like something where they get attention from it. So rather than saying it because that's how they actually feel, they just say it just because they want attention to themselves. I know that's not the case for everyone, but I do know there are cases which this has happened.
Right, I have mixed opinions about this. There are good, there are bad. The bad ones are always like stereotypical, like, oh, this is how transgenders act in like weird ways, right? Like being like, oh yeah, I'm a boy, don't do that, when in actuality they're acting like a tomboy, not a trans male. So if it's with a cis actor playing as a transgender, if they're doing it like that, horrible. But there are some that actually explore what transgender is, how people feel, so they can get in character, and then they sort of gain a respect for trans people, or more of a respect than they already do, and they sort of embody it while acting. And sometimes I think they do even realize that actor is actually trans in the future, because that's what people do.
I mean, you do what you want to do, you know? Like, say for example, if you're born as a female but you're playing a role of a male, like, there's nothing wrong with that. You're just playing a role. Like, it doesn't define you as a person, you're just playing a role.